You have been lied to about discipline and what it means to be disciplined. And it's the very reason that you feel broken, scattered, and feeling as if you're constantly spinning your wheels while you scroll and watch so many other people online accomplish the very life you dream of and pray for, and they have less talent and qualifications. But here's the thing no one wants to admit. Discipline without clarity is very costly procrastination. And I've learned that if you don't understand the difference, you will spend another year pushing, pulling for outcomes, grinding in the wrong direction. I had this understanding of what fake discipline looks like. Waking up at 5 in the morning to run through someone else's morning routine, to force yourself to post content every single day, sharing what you ate, what you wore, even if it doesn't feel aligned and you don't really have anything valuable to say. Saying yes to every networking event and every opportunity that comes your way because you think busy is going to make you more productive. You can easily feel disciplined just because you're doing the hard things. But you're doing the wrong hard things. And this is where I had my aha moment, because discipline in the wrong direction is worse than no discipline at all sometimes, because it gives you the illusion of progress when in all actuality, you are staying exactly where you are. I spent the last video talking about the Great Lock-in, which is Q4 winter arc. A lot of individuals choose to utilize the winter to get focused on finishing strong. But before you lock in and commit to any habits or routines or systems, I need you to ask yourself this. Will this thing that I'm about to discipline myself to actually produce the outcome I really want? Will it help me to feel the way I really want to feel? Not, is this a good thing to do? Or would successful people do this? But you have to ask yourself, will this specific action actually produce the specific result that you want in your life right now? Because here's what I see online. People pick disciplines that feel virtuous, but don't actually do anything meaningful in their lives. They choose the discipline that is Instagram worthy, that makes them feel good about how other people perceive them, instead of the disciplines that will help them to produce more cash flow, help them to create a happier marriage, help them to have more freedom at home with their time, help them to have more space and energy, those types of disciplines. I am an avid reader. I love digesting a new idea and concept. And I loved reading articles about books successful people were reading and then buy them and put them on my bookshelf so that I can get to it next. Darren Hardy and Bob Proctor really helped me to change my mind about the routine I created around books, because I was reading a book 1 hour a day, close to a new book every single month, but I was never implementing what I was reading. And I would take one concept, read it, close that book, move on to a new concept. Take one new idea, read it, close it, move on to a new idea. And I never really studied or implemented the concept. And I would just be consuming. It's very easy for me to do this on YouTube because I love YouTube, and spend so much time consuming instead of creating, or admitting to yourself that you're just afraid. You're just afraid to take the real action. A fake discipline is reading the book and posting how you read 100 books this year. The real discipline that's going to get you whatever it is you're looking for in your life is focusing on one book, one concept, and implementing it. Real discipline isn't about leverage. It's about identifying the smallest action that will create the biggest impact in your life or business, and then becoming ruthless about protecting that small action. If you are here and your desire is to make more money, to bring more money into your household, that small action discipline isn't reading more books. It's getting more sales, right? And everything that you do is centered around protecting that. Conversions, making more sales, having more opportunities to get in front of a decision maker, right? You can have the most beautiful website, the most perfect, flawless content, the most organized systems on the back end. But if you are not having conversations or thinking about putting your offer, your service in front of someone, you don't have a business. You don't have cash flow. You don't have income that month. So ask yourself, how much of your discipline is actually helping you to reach your goal? How much of your time, the little that you have available to focus on something, is actually spent going toward directly supporting that goal? And if your answer is less than 50%, then you're not disciplined. You're just being busy. I have 4 kids under the age of 11 at the time of this recording, and a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old. Pray for me. One of the greatest lessons that my children have taught me in life through motherhood is that you can do hard things even when it's really hard in life. Learning to have high courage conversations, learning to define hard and soft lines in the sand about what's tolerable and intolerable to you as a parent. Having conversations with adults who oversee your children and supervise your children to ensure that they are reflecting and acting as a mirror to the values and the character traits and what it is you want your children to know about who they are. You've solved problems every single day, every moment of the day, under pressure, under multiple conflicting constraints. And let me tell you, and even as an overthinker, a person who needs to have all the details ironed out, all the information, all the ducks in a row, as a parent, what I've realized, even identifying as that personality trait, I have still made plenty of decisions, large and small, without complete information. It helped me to see how I was developing discipline in my thinking and in the implementation, the execution, despite unsavory circumstances, just through parenthood, through motherhood. The only difference is that when it comes to my kids, I don't play, right? So for me, it's a non-negotiable. I understand clearly the consequence of not taking action, of not ensuring the environment for success is as close to perfect for them as possible. But when it comes to your business, sometimes even your marriage, sometimes even your health, it's optional. You act and behave and live as if it's optional to thrive. I had to draw my hard line in the sand for myself when I think about what it means to lock in, to say, bringing money into my household is not optional, and it doesn't have to be contingent upon a traditional job. My marriage is not optional. Financial freedom, financial stability, my health, they're not optional. And my ability to provide more choices and afford more choices to my family is not optional. And this brings me to the second lie about discipline that you've been told, that you need more willpower. You don't need more willpower. You need better systems that don't require willpower. Hear me out on this. Willpower is what you use when you haven't made a real decision yet. You are still negotiating with yourself about whether or not you are going to do the thing you say you're going to do. I don't need willpower to parent my children and run my household. I already made the decision that I am going to actively be a presence in my children's lives. It doesn't matter how tired I am. Real discipline eliminates negotiation. It turns decisions into systems and systems into an identity. Instead of forcing yourself to make sales calls or to make content or to make offers, schedule them at the same time, whatever day makes sense for you, continuously, and treat them like the biggest appointments of your life, because that's what they really are. Instead of using willpower to work out, you find your form of movement that you can do despite the weather or the kind of day that you're having, and connect it to something you're already doing every single day. But here's a deeper thing that I even struggled with at one point. A lot of people are trying to use discipline to become someone different. That's backwards. You need to decide who you are becoming first, building from who you are, because you've already acquired so much wisdom, tools, skills, and then use your discipline. Allow your discipline to be the natural expression of that identity. Here's an example. If you see yourself as someone who is just trying to get healthy, trying to lose weight, that means every decision that you make is going to be a negotiation. But if you see yourself as someone who is taking care of her body, because it is the foundation of everything that you want to build, working out isn't discipline. It's just what you do as a result of who you are. Here's a big one for me. If you see yourself as someone who is just trying to build a business, every sales call that you get on or pitch that you make is going to be terrifying. But if you see yourself as someone who solves problems for people and gets paid well to do it, sales calls, pitching, it's not discipline. They're just how you serve people. The identity shift comes first. The behavior follows. And since we are heading into the winter arc, let me tell you something about discipline that nobody talks about, especially if you have children, multiple children at home. You don't need the same disciplines all year long. Your energy, your schedule, your systems, they should all shift according to the season of life that you're in. Trying to maintain summer level focus and intensity in the middle of December when your kids are home and maybe your clients are distracted and your energy is drained, that to me is not discipline. Winter discipline looks so much different. It's more intentional, more focused, more sustainable. Instead of trying to do all the things, you just pick 2 or 3 things that you can do sustainably. The non-negotiable things that absolutely cannot slide, and everything else you accept as good enough. Maybe for your business, you allow those 2 to 3 things to be maintaining your client relationships and your sales pipeline, nurturing relationships, and allow content creation and networking to take a back seat. Maybe it's maintaining your workout routine and your family time, while accepting that most days your house isn't going to be Pinterest worthy and your meal planning isn't going to be perfect, and that's okay. The goal isn't to maintain every discipline you've ever created throughout the year. The goal, my friend, is to identify which disciplines serve the season of life that you're in right now, and identifying which ones are just making you feel guilty because you can't sustain them right now. For many solopreneur parents heading into this season, the answer is pretty simple. I need to maintain or increase my cash flow while managing this crazy school holiday season and maintaining my sanity. Now, I don't want you to get stuck where most people get stuck. They get clear on what they need to do, and then they get hyper-focused on perfecting the way they do it. They beat themselves up when they set an outcome of 5 perfect sales calls or perfect pieces of content, when in fact, they only had the time and energy to produce 3, or maybe only 1 of those calls worked out. They want to work on perfecting a CRM and a back-end client outreach system that's fancy and invest and research what tools they should have, instead of just sending 5 emails to the client list they already have available right now, or a couple of outreaches on LinkedIn or Instagram, connecting to the warm audience they already have. They want to have this perfect morning routine that may be ideal for an early Saturday morning, but don't plan for the times that they have to get their kids off to school or when someone's sick. And instead of focusing on all the things, just optimize the first 30 minutes of your day. The hardest lesson that I've had to learn is that perfect discipline that never happens is pointless. It's a waste of time. But imperfect discipline that actually happens, it's priceless. But as we head into this season, I want you to make a commitment to yourself to not beat yourself up when it's not perfect and not make the target perfection, because it's not. We are not trying to transform your entire life right now. We are not trying to change who you are right now. Just commit to being dangerously clear about what matters most, and then fiercely protective of the time and energy you spend getting there. Commit in this season to saying no to good opportunities so that you can have great ones. Commit to saying no to good relationships so that you can have great ones. Commit to disappointing people who want and benefit from you being scattered so that you can spend your energy and time focused on serving the people who actually need, want, and deserve you. Here's a really big commitment that I made to myself, and I'm going to share it with you if it helps. And that is to commit to doing fewer things better instead of doing more things poorly. I believe that discipline is healing, more healing than any self-care routine that you can subscribe to. And a lot of people have accepted that discipline is something that's only meant to make you feel terrible about yourself or to force you to do things you hate. Discipline to me is about becoming the person who naturally, automatically does these things because they create the life you want. And that starts with getting clear on what you actually want, not just what you think you're supposed to want. It starts with identifying the few actions that actually progress your life, your business, your health, your marriage towards the outcomes you want, not the many actions that make you feel busy, maybe make you feel good because you think you're busy, but are they actually getting you closer to what you want your life to look like? It starts with deciding who you're going to be and then allowing your discipline to become the natural expression of that identity. The people who win in life aren't the ones with the most discipline. They're the ones with the clearest focus on what their discipline should be pointed toward. So before you lock in, get clear. Before you commit, get focused. And before you discipline yourself stupid and to exhaustion, make sure you are disciplining yourself towards something you actually want. If you are ready to stop wasting your discipline on things that don't matter and start focusing on things that do, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that you get notified when I post the next video. And I want you to refuse to stay scattered. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.